Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. Kenny Fogle here with you. Glad you could join us. We're going to be talking a little bit about 4-H. So we got Danielle Hutchins and Luke Fries in here with us, and Luke Freeze. Let me get that. I'm sure you get that a lot.
All the time.
I'm sure you get that a lot.
Doesn't bother me a bit now.
Luke Freeze and Danielle Hutchins. And if any time we want to find out anything going on in the county, there's always something going on in 4-H. I don't think you all ever have you ever take vacation?
We try to. We get vacation days, but it's hard to use them.
Yeah, I bet so, because there's always, I don't think I've ever come in that you all don't have something that you're prepared to talk about. So what are we talking about today?
We've got lots of things that have been going on. I'll let Luke start with, I guess, some updates from State Fair, maybe?
Yeah, we just wrapped up State Fair, actually, this past week. Really big success. I think we had some great entries. I don't know if anybody's familiar, but usually our project clubs establish something that they're going to do for the year, and their closing project is to submit it to the State Fair. So that's kind of our wrap up of the year for those project clubs. And we always get a lot of entries, and we got a lot of entries again this year, but what we were really surprised with was the quality work that our kids did this year. We had a lot of kids that got champion ribbons and came home with blue ribbons, which is something we were really proud of, because we always have entries, but they always don't do really well, and we had a lot of kids that did really, really well this year.
And the competition's pretty stiff at the State Fair. I mean, you're dealing with a lot of people from a lot of places.
It is, and we had, I think, in photography in one of the classes, there were over 1,000 entries, and a kid from Nelson County actually got second place out of all those entries. So we were really proud of a lot of the kids that did really good work. And we were excited. We had District Day where we had the radio station come, and kids were able to talk, and they were able to perform, show some of their talents as well. And so we've just seen this past week that, and it's always, but we've seen this past week for sure that we have a lot of talents and a lot of talented kids here in Nelson County.
Well, let's go back to that just a minute, as far as like you talk about the kid that won in photography. Now, did the kid win in photography because he's talented in photography, or do you have somebody there that's guiding them, leading them? How do they get good? I mean, I guess is the question.
Well, we definitely provide a lot of educational opportunities for kids to learn how to produce quality photography. A lot of our clubs, whether it's woodworking or electricity, those project clubs are focused to provide education to help those kids along in creating those quality projects. So a lot of those kids, some of them are older kids now that were in programs before, that maybe got their start there, but they continued on because they found a passion when they first started, and they continued on and learned as they went and got older. So one of those kids, his name is Brandon Darby. He got second place, but he started in photography, but maybe took his talents and did something else with it as he matured and got a little older. So, and those kids have the opportunity to become mentors to some of the younger kids too.
Well, I guess that leads into my next question: is you can't be talented at everything. I mean, hey, you can't have somebody.
Well, I am.
Well, other than you, everybody else can't be as talented as you are. That can train in simply everything. So, where do you find people that can train people, like mentors? You just use the people that you've already trained to train others.
And some of them have been in the program for 18, 19 years and have stayed from when they were, in diapers all the way until now. I'm sure, this is just my second year, but I've seen that there's really a lot of continuity with volunteers and kiddos that stay around because they just feel that family atmosphere. They feel safe. It's a safe learning environment. It's encouraging. We are always encouraging and positive to these kids, but on that point, we have a lot of volunteers throughout the community that come in and spend a lot of their time that they don't have to spend with us, giving those kids or providing those opportunities for those kids, and they're really great with our youth development program. Okay. So.
Well, Danielle, now that Luke's achieved perfection, what are you perfect in?
I don't know. But one thing that Luke was talking about, we have a lot of volunteers. We can always use more volunteers. Yeah. We have a growing community, and we just now started back into our school enrichment programs. And a lot of kids, whether it's because their family works at night, they may not have transportation, or they have other commitments, they're not able to participate in the traditional 4-H clubs, which might meet after school or a little bit further away from their home. we want all kids to have the opportunity to participate in 4-H. So we take 4-H into the classrooms, and we do educational programs that enrich the curriculum that they're already having. And when we do that, we give them the opportunity to still be able to enroll in 4-H. And we have an enrollment card that we have for the kids. And if anybody ever is interested in keeping up with 4-H, they can call our office at 348-9204 and get on our newsletter list. But this enrollment card is pretty neat because it lists out a lot of the activities that we have offered. And what we do from this list, when we're getting ready to start a club or if we have a contest or activity, we'll pull this list and see who's interested and send them an invitation to that. But every year there are kids interested in some projects that we may not currently have volunteers for. So if somebody is passionate about something, if they're skilled or talented in something, and they'd be interested in giving a few hours a month, we'd love to hear from them. Our volunteers do go through a client protection process, which is a background process, and we do check their references. And then we have continuing education for our volunteers as well. You were asking him, how do our volunteers get so talented? We have the Kentucky Volunteer Forum where they can go and do workshops, Southern Region where they can learn from other states. So we like to not only encourage growth in our youth, but in our volunteers as well. So we have a lot of people that actually have been tasked to teach others in Nelson County because they are so great. We have lots of our volunteers who serve on state level leadership boards, which is really nice. And that's not only for adults, but for our teens as well. We used to just have a state teen council, and that was 2 kids from each district would be able to do that. And they decided that, our teens really have a lot to offer. So they started some more leadership boards. This year they have a fashion leadership board, which one of our kids, Madeline Bolin, is a part of that. And what's a unique thing that Madeline brings to that is her eye on conservative dress. And so that'll be really interesting for her to bring that to a group of teens that may not always share that similar value. And then we have a SET board, which is Science, Engineering, and Technology. We have a Shooting Sports Ambassador program. So the kids have, and there's a Fine Arts board as well. So the kids have a lot of opportunity for state level leadership, and we always like to support them. We do a lot of fundraising. When those kids take that opportunity to give back to other kids and teach them and take time away from their community and take time away from their own responsibilities, we try to support them financially so it's not completely out of pocket. Because usually those kids are asked to give 6 to 8 weekends for those leadership positions.
One of the things I always liked about 4-H is it's mostly the life skills. I mean, basically the things you learn in 4-H are things you can actually use in life. And I'll use an example as something that I wish I was paying attention to more when I was younger, that as I get older, I realize more so. And talk about nutrition. And we talk about nutrition a lot, but are kids paying attention? Are they really paying attention to what is a good meal or what's junk?
I think kids are really starting to see it now because there is a really concentrated effort in the schools, not just their how their school lunches have changed, but some of the education pieces. Today I just drove around to some of the schools. The University of Kentucky has a grant with supplemental nutrition education programs, and they produce a magazine called Chop Chop. So a lot of our kids in the county will be coming home with a little Chop Chop magazine, and it has a healthy message in it. It usually has some healthy recipes. In our newsletters, we try to put some healthy things in here. One of them is a Cooking with Kids recipe, and it talks about quesadilla con huevos, so egg quesadillas for breakfast, and unfried chicken. And so it just, that youth-adult partnership is really important in 4-H, and when we can teach the families together, that's really great. And I've been telling the kids, 4-H started in 1902, and one of the reasons 4-H started, I tell them, and it's kind of in a joking manner, but it's kind of true too, is that we adults are kind of hard-headed. 4-H is a part of the University of Kentucky, which is a land-grant university. And there's a land-grant university or 2 in every state. And they do a lot of really amazing research. And years ago, they found out that not everybody was canning foods properly and preserving foods properly. So they did a lot of research, found out, the correct cooking times, the best way to pressure can or hot water bath your
Yeah.
food. And they took it to the communities, and of course, people like me said, well, this is the way I've always done it. I've
Yeah.
never gotten sick, or this is the way my grandma did it.
Yeah.
But they found out if they taught the kids would go home and teach their parents.
Yeah.
They would pretty much pester them. Kind of like if you've ever had a kid that learned about recycling, they're picking through your trash for a few weeks.
Oh yeah, my granddaughter.
So they figured out, if we teach the kids, then the kids will teach the adults.
Mm-hmm.
And those youth adult partnerships formed with canning and cooking classes way back then. 4-H has evolved, and it's a research-based organization.
Mm-hmm.
So we use research-based curriculum. And like some of the things we do now, we have aerospace camp where the kids can learn to fly a plane. But it's still that youth adult partnership, which is really cool. One thing that I'm super excited about, and people have probably seen these in some of the communities as they're driving through, they funded some really big bulletin boards. Not bulletin boards, what are the ones on the side of the road?
Billboards.
There we go.
I worked in transportation for a while. I know some of the terminology.
And so it's a Snack Like a Superhero program. And we've got these that go out into the classrooms. We did this at camp, but they've got different recipes. So I think some people in the community have seen our Kentucky Proud recipes. This is along the same lines, but it's more geared towards kids. So this one is Power Up with fruit and yogurt, and it's a fruit and yogurt frozen treat. This one is Soar Like a Superhero, and it is superhero fruit or veggie kebabs with fuel dip. So they're making these recipes youth-friendly. And then they've just started, we got this one this month, which is Eat Fruit and Veggies, and your kids will too. So trying to teach those parents to model healthy eating behaviors. If anybody's interested in getting some of these recipes or Kentucky Proud recipes, which we have, I'd say probably 50 different ones that come in these nice cards that you can put in your recipe box.
Yeah.
They can always stop by the extension office, which is on 317 South 3rd Street near the health department. And we're open from 8 to 4:30, and we've got lots of these that they can select from, and sometimes we have them at the farmers market and other events as well.
Okay, well, Luke, you've had a busy summer. You survived the summer, you survived camp, and you survived the state fair. What's coming up next?
Yeah, we got done with all that. Actually, we lost our FCS agent. Unfortunately, Dana Parrott went back home. She's now in Hardin County doing the same thing, but that's kind of opened our eyes to some different opportunities that we have coming up. One of them is some of that nutrition education that we haven't had the opportunity to do because Dana normally took care of that. But after this, we have All Pro Dads coming up, which is an opportunity for dads to come to schools for a breakfast once a month with their kids. That will be in Cox's Creek on October 16th will be the kickoff for that. And basically it just, it's a way for dads to connect with their kids in the morning. Sometimes we don't have that father to son or daughter relationship that you see in family dynamics these days, unfortunately. And it's not always dad. Sometimes it could be moms, but for some reason research tells us that most of the time it is dad. So
everybody's in a hurry.
We're wanting to facilitate that father to daughter or son relationship in schools in the morning. So like I said, if you have kiddos in Cox's Creek, October 16th will be the opening day for that one, and then in New Haven on September 25th. And then look for it in other schools as well. I know Foster Heights, as well as maybe some of the city schools. We're thinking about getting into that as well. But New Haven and Cox's Creek have that coming up. In addition to that, we'll be in schools. Danielle and I this is the big month that we start off with our schools, so we have different responsibilities that we have, but we'll be in Bardstown, we'll be in a lot of the Nelson County schools, and look forward to working with those kids and kind of promoting what we have as 4-H, as an entire program and some of the clubs that we have too. So we got a lot of stuff coming up. We're very busy, but we're definitely excited. It's a lot of fun stuff. So our jobs can stay pretty busy, but they're also very rewarding and a lot of fun.
Well, Luke and Danielle, we appreciate you being here. And like I said, you've got a lot of things going on that people may or may not know. I know the kids know about it, but we've got to get the information out to moms and dads to make sure that you're available. And this is a resource that, how much does it cost them to be involved?
It really depends on the club. Some of our clubs are free, and even the supplies are provided for them. We've always said we never want money to be a reason why kids don't participate in 4-H.
Yeah.
So if a family does join a club and they have some financial hardships, sometimes they can request assistance. We may ask that they participate in some fundraising, to help contribute to that, but we always make sure we help them out. A few of our clubs do have membership fees. I know our shooting sports club and our ham club do.
Bullets are not cheap.
Ammo is fairly expensive, and we want to make sure that they're using the safe and correct ammo, so we provide most of that for them. And I know some of the clubs, they have to bring some of their own materials too. But a couple of exciting clubs that are coming up, one that I encourage, if you are a teen or if you know a teen, next Tuesday night at the old Holtz Campground, which is right off of 245 in Templin. We're having our new member meeting for Teen Council. We're going to do a campfire. Hopefully it won't still be 100 degrees outside.
That's a blast. It's an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Last year we did the same thing and cooked out and had a lot of new kids, and it was just a blast.
You sound like a kid yourself.
I know, I do. I get excited. I'm telling you, we got the football and the frisbee out there, and we were tossing that around last year. I do. I'm a big kid.
He had to leave early, and he's like, I don't want to go.
I don't want to go home.
Yeah.
But it's a good introduction for the kids to get to know each other, and we meet the second Tuesday of each month, and that teen council group works really hard to kind of define some of their own goals. And one of their goals that's been consistent throughout the years is helping them get ready for the next step after graduation. So either gaining leadership skills, getting community service hours, looking at scholarships. But the biggest thing they do is service for the community. They help with the luminaries for Relay for Life. They help with almost all the 4-H events and serve as mentors for other kids. So we highly encourage kids to get involved with that. If you have a teen that, may not find a fit in other organizations, this is a super welcoming group. They become a family. After our last meeting this past month, it was the last meeting for the group that we have now, and several were graduating. And our meeting ended, and they all went to eat frozen yogurt and stayed for about 2 hours because they just knew that some of them were going off to college, and they create a really strong community. So we really enjoy that group.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I appreciate y'all being here, and Luke Freeze and Daniel Hutchins, I appreciate you all coming in, spending the day with us. And hopefully we'll get you back in the next month or so. Like I said, there's always something going on there. I don't think you ever have much of a dull moment there anymore. So again, we appreciate what you're doing, and y'all go out there and keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here. We'll be back in just a few minutes here on Community Focus, Channel 6 TV. This is Kenny Fogle. Take care.